Hello, so welcome to Boss Chick Testimonies by the Divine Solutionist, where faith meets fire, business meets boldness. Leadership is not for the faint of heart. I am your host, Paquita Reddish, and this platform was created for visionaries, survivors, builders, leaders who refuse to shrink. Boss Chick Testimonies is a space where men and women will share real stories about resilience, growth, and the power of owning their testimonies. Goodness, it is hot up in here today. It's always hot in this room. But thank you for being on with me today. So the topic for today is shrinking. It's called I Am Not Shrinking Anymore. So tonight we're going to talk about what that really looks like. This show will be about faith, business, leadership, and real conversations. So I thank you for joining me tonight. This is our test run. Lord Jesus is hot. So this is our test run tonight. I'm so excited for y'all to be here. Like I said, this show is about faith, business, and leadership. And tonight we're going to talk about shrinking and what that really means. So, shrinking can look like quite a few things. For example, we'll talk about what shrinking looks like in leadership. How you play small in order to keep other people comfortable. Diluting your voice. Leadership requires evolution and choosing ownership over comfort. There's a difference between being invited to a table and building one. So what does shrinking in leadership look like? Shrinking in leadership often shows up quietly. It's not always obvious. Sometimes shrinking looks like avoiding difficult conversations, delaying decisions because you don't want to upset people, second guessing yourself even when you know the direction is clear, letting others dominate the discussions when you're supposed to be guiding the vision, softening your message so no one feels challenged. Leadership requires clarity. When a leader begins shrinking, the entire room can feel the hesitation. Teams become confused, direction becomes blurred, and progress slows down. So that's what shrinking can look like in leadership. So the number here for WVCR is 608-363-2402. I am welcoming everybody to call in. If you have any comments, if you want to talk about it, definitely give me a call. And we'll continue talking about what shrinking is. Leadership isn't about being liked. It's about being clear. Another way that you can cause yourself to shrink is by playing small to keep others comfortable. Many leaders shrink because they are trying to maintain peace. That could be downplaying your achievements so others don't feel intimidated, avoiding opportunities because someone else might feel left behind, making yourself smaller so people don't accuse you of being too much. Staying quiet in rooms when your voice would actually bring clarity. Those are some ways that we play small. For a long time, I worried about being too much, too loving, too patient, too full of faith. But I realized something. I'm not too much. I'm just a lot of love, a lot of patience, a lot of shine, and a lot of faith. And you have to be able to deal with that. That is who I am. I can't can't dim my light in order to make other people comfortable. And when we in business, we can't do that either. You are your brand. There's no way around that. So if people are uncomfortable with it, they're just gonna have to be uncomfortable with it. That's all there is to it. Like I said, so you can't lead people forward if you're constantly shrinking backwards. That is not what true leadership is. Another way you could be shrinking is by diluting your voice. Diluting your voice means you're watering down the truth you were meant to speak. It looks like adding extra explanation so people won't misunderstand you. Softening your opinions so they sound more acceptable. Changing your message depending on who's in the room. Hesitating before you're speaking because you're worried about how it would land. A diluted voice carries diluted leadership. And when you constantly are softening your message, people stop hearing the conviction behind it. So don't do that. Your voice carries authority, and when it carries clarity. So remember that. You have to. Don't dilute your voice because somebody might get offended. You can't do, that's not how we do things. Hey Courtney, thanks for watching. So like I said, this show is about faith leadership. We'll have some real talk conversations and things like that as well. Another point of, shrinking is leadership requires evolution. Strong leaders understand that growth requires change. Evolution might mean outgrowing the environments that once fit. Changing your leadership style as you gain experience. Hey, oh, thank you. Letting go of old roles so you can step into new responsibility. Accepting not everyone will evolve with you. Ooh, that's the hard part. Hey, Jane. Thank you for coming on. Thank you. So we got Rock County Restoration Substance Abuse Recovery Center in the building. I sit on the board as the vice president, and we have our sober living house in Janesville, Wisconsin. It's really taken off and it's really thriving, and we're doing some great work and helping to change a couple of lives in Janesville with the sober living house. So if you want to know more information about that, just contact me and I'll get you some information. We're about to do a project called Strikeout Addiction. That's coming in May 16th. And we will be having different bowling teams, and whoever gets the highest score, it just helps to, like a fundraiser. It's a fundraiser. So get your teams together. If you want to be involved in that, just give me an inbox and I'll let you know what's going on with it. So when we're talking about leadership is not static. The version of you that started the journey can't be the same version of you that carries it forward. Growth requires refinement, and refinement requires courage. That's something I really struggle with as an entrepreneur, is just thinking that everybody that I started with is supposed to go with me and grow with me and do all this stuff. We're supposed to be, we're supposed to be able to go on this journey together. And there are times where we are, all going on a journey together. But there are seasons that the Lord requires us to be by ourselves. And that's a hard thing to do, especially when you used to running with your crew. And now is not like that. And it's because there are just some things that he can work with a group together, and there are some things that he needs just for you to focus on. You know, I'm in that season right now. I promise you, it did not feel like a blessing when it started at all, but I have to trust his plan, because if I don't, then I'm going to miss out on blessings that he have waiting for me. And you have to listen to that voice. You have to listen to for me, it's God. For some of y'all, it might be whatever higher power that you use. But shrinking is something, I'm telling you. It could also mean choosing ownership over comfort. There comes moments when leaders have to choose ownership. Ownership means taking responsibility for the vision, speaking with confidence about the direction you believe in, standing in your authority even when it's uncomfortable, building what you believe in instead of waiting for approval. Choosing ownership means you stop waiting for someone else to confirm your calling. You accept the responsibility of leading what you were meant to build. That right there is a thing. You know, when I get emotional, so y'all gonna have to forgive me. Y'all gonna have to forgive me. I get a little emotional. But we never thought that we would be here as an organization without our leader. We knew that hi Mom. Hey Marquise, how y'all doing? You know, we all knew that she had her health problems and things like that, but you never fathomed that this person would be gone. And that was a hard thing to deal with. We never, Jesus. To lose your leader, to lose your best friend, your encourager, the person that helped you through some of the darkest times in your life, is a hard thing. And then for her to ask you to continue her vision forward, that's a big thing. And it's something that I don't take lightly at all. You know, this was Black Women in Business was her baby. And she absolutely loved everything about it. And I am doing my best to keep it going. But I had moments in this journey of keeping the vision going forward. And I had to make some hard decisions. And everybody did not like the decisions that I made. But they were necessary to keep the vision going forward. Because she didn't want Black Women in Business Expo to stop after 8 years. We just celebrated our 8th year. And this is the 3rd year we had to do it without her. And as long as I continue to stick to the vision and stick to what that vision is, we'll hit year number 10. We'll hit year number 15. We'll hit year number 20. Whew. Something. It's definitely something. But ownership requires courage. But it also creates freedom. Shrinking might feel safe in the moment, but leadership was never meant to be safe. Leadership was meant to be clear, courageous, and committed to growth. We can't stop because we're hurting. We can't stop because we're grieving. The vision stops when you do that. You have to keep going. You have to push through it. And it's hard. It's very hard. Like I said, you can call in at 608-363-2402 if you want to get in on the conversation. So, where are we at? 5:27. All right. Hopefully y'all can hear me. Tell me y'all can hear me, because I know I can be soft-spoken sometimes. So, real talk. So what we're going to do is talk about stop waiting to be chosen. Stop waiting to be chosen in business, in relationships, rooms, leadership, ministry. Approval versus assignment, validation versus division. When you know who you are, you don't audition for alignment. Understanding the chosen mindset. Many people spend years waiting to be chosen. Waiting to be chosen can look like waiting for someone to recognize your talent, waiting for someone to give you permission to start, waiting for validation before stepping forward, waiting for approval before sharing your ideas. Sometimes we sit at tables waiting for someone to call our name, when in reality, we were supposed to build the table. Waiting delays purpose. Action activates it. So you gotta have a chosen mindset. Oh, can I put it? I don't know. Let me, hold on. Maybe. So, Mom asked me to put the phone number in the chat, so I'm going to do that now. All right. The phone number is in the chat if you would like to call in, weigh in on the topic today. The topic today is I am not shrinking anymore. So that number again is 608-363-2402. And sometimes you have to work, but get my whole life together. Sometimes you have to choose yourself in a season as well. Choosing yourself isn't arrogant. Choosing yourself means believing in your calling, taking initiatives when opportunities don't appear, creating platforms instead of waiting for invitations, trusting that your voice has value. Ooh. Choosing yourself is simply acknowledging what God had already placed inside of you. Life will apply pressure to you. People will walk away. Doors will close without explanation. But a boss chick, a boss dude, doesn't break. They build. You have the baby. You're down at the store. Oh, okay. Sweet. But confidence isn't pride. It's alignment. And there's nothing wrong with being confident. There's nothing wrong with choosing yourself. If you got to take the time to isolate, if you need to take the time to reset your whole thing, do it. Forget what everybody else is talking about. If you need that time to realign yourself with your goals and your purposes, do it. That's, you might want to tell some of your closest people, hey, I need some space. But, if not, you don't owe anybody an explanation. But so people don't worry about you, you might want to. But hey, that's neither here or there. Fear that keeps people waiting. So yeah, let's talk about fear for a moment. Many people are stuck in the waiting mode because of fear. Fear of rejection, fear of criticism, fear of failure, being misunderstood, outgrowing relationships. Fear just can take a serious grip of your life. And you have to figure your way past it. Because God didn't give us the spirit of fear. He didn't. He came so that we could have life more abundantly. So why would you allow fear to stop you from anything that you're trying to do? Sometimes fear of stepping forward keeps people frozen in places that they already outgrown. Growth requires movement when outcome isn't guaranteed. We're never guaranteed an outcome. But if you don't move, you'll never know. If you don't move, you'll never know. You'll stay stuck. What if I decided in September of 2024 not to go to Warrior Unchained? Would I be where I am today? Would I be the first African American win story speaker if I hadn't taken the chance and asked the founder, hey, I'm really excited about the conference. I really would like to go. I think that this would be beneficial to me. And I had talked to my friend Vanessa Cook, she was one among the first win story speakers. Her and Jennifer Babcock, they were the first two win story speakers. And they did it at Warrior Unchained. Warrior Unchained was a women's business conference that completely changed my life. And this professional development is so important. If you don't invest in yourself, who else is going to invest in you? You got to take the leap. Had I not taken that leap back then, there's no way I would have missed out on all the amazing opportunities that have come my way. Attending that 3-day conference has helped boost my first business with my mom, Blessed Divine Creations. It has made so many contacts. Thank God for that. And it helped me to launch the Divine Solutionist. And that's my faith-based coaching and keynote speaking brand. Oh, excuse me. Get some water up in here. Had I not gone to that conference, had I not taken that risk, who knows where I would be today? Today, because I took that risk, I'm the first African American win story speaker. I'm a published author. Twice. This is, you know what I'm saying? You know when something is in alignment. Because once you get in alignment, God opens doors. It goes like that. Win Stories took off like hot fire. It's like it took off like fire, and it's still taking off. This past 2 weeks ago in Chicago for Creative Con Chicago, we had 2 other Black women get on the stage and be Win Story speakers. How cool is that? Our voices, our stories. Hi, Aunt Angie. Our stories as women and as Black women matter. To hear, we have over 40 Win Story speakers. And not all of them are women. There are men speakers as well. But those stories matter. And you sitting in fear, or you not having that chosen mindset, there's somebody in this world right now waiting for you to speak, waiting for you to open your mouth so that they can receive their healing. And you're sitting on it. You're sitting on your talent. Don't do that. There is somebody waiting for you that you're going to speak to, that needs to hear your story, who needs to see that, oh man, yeah, she went through that. I can go through, I'm in the middle of that right now. I can get out. I can move forward. I don't have to be in this mental hospital. You know, because it ain't always all about the abuse. It's the stuff that we go through ourselves. I've been diagnosed with major depressive disorder. Now, you probably looking at me like, what? No, not Keita. Yes, me. It's high functioning, but when I crash, I crash. And it's not pretty at all. But I know that I have to tap into my power. And my higher power is God. When I'm tapped in with Him and I'm connected to Him, that helps me to continue. Even through the sadness, even through the, I don't feel like this is working for me. I don't feel hopeful. I don't feel, you know what I'm saying? And I've always prayed to never get to that really, really dark place ever again. That's not a fun place to be. That's a hard place to be, where you feel like nothing is going right. Nothing. And then you have to wake up. Get yourself dressed. Get the kids dressed. Do all the things and get through the day. There are people out here in this world that literally wake up and say, I don't want to be here. And they actually do the act. Don't let it get like that. Don't let it get that far. If you wake up in the morning and you open your eyes and you have breath in your body, you have a chance to make it up. You have a chance to change it. You don't have to stay stuck like that. You don't have to stay in that mentality. You wake up in the morning, you start the day. You know, I wake up in the morning and I start my day with a guided prayer on my Bible app. Or sometimes I just wake up in the morning and start talking to God. And people think prayer is thy Father and no, he don't want to hear none of that. All he want to hear is you talking like this. Just talk to him. Just talk to that higher source, that higher power. Get it out, because if it's stuck up in your head, and that's all you're doing is running thoughts, you're never gonna get out of it. That's why you gotta speak it out loud and let him have it. And let him have it. Oh Lord. Growth requires movement, even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. What happens when you stop waiting? When leaders stop waiting, new ideas emerge, opportunities expand, confidence grows, others feel permission to rise as well. When one person stops shrinking and starts leading, it often inspires others to do the same. Leadership multiplies courage. So be the leader you are. Be the leader that you were called to be. If you're thinking, I can't lead anything. Yes, you can. You can. That's the whole point. You can lead. So faith and leadership integration. So we're going to talk about how faith anchors bold leadership, why refinement is uncomfortable, obedience requires courage, and what dominion really means in daily life. So when we're talking about refinement, that's a process. It's just like a blacksmith, a potter. A blacksmith will take a piece of metal, bend it, twist it, things like that. And then he keeps putting it in the fire. And then he pulls it out. And he'll look at it. And he'll be like, nope, I still see some impurities. So he'll put it back in the fire and pull it out. He'll keep doing that until it reflects what he wants it to look like. And that's the same thing that happens with us and with our higher powers in God. God is going to keep putting you in the fire until you come out looking like him, like he wants you to be. So don't ask like, why do I keep going through this? Why do I keep going through it? Because you ain't learned the lesson yet. You ain't learned what he needs you to learn. That's why you keep going through it. That's why this keeps happening. You know? It's not fun. It's not a fun process at all. It will challenge and test your strength. Those situations reveal your character. Seasons where you question your direction. Moments where you must rebuild. Refinement is uncomfortable because it removes parts of us that cannot go where we're going. He can, thanks Mama, he can turn a mess into a masterpiece. And he can turn a test into a testimony. So you got to be okay with going through that refining part. Woo! You got to keep going even through the refining process. Refinement prepares leaders for greater responsibility. See, he's not going to give you your biggest blessing until he He knows you can handle it. Because if he give it to you in this season where you still cutting up and you still acting crazy, you're gonna mess it up. You're not gonna appreciate it. You're not going to do with it what he wants you to do with it. So that's why he's like, dang, that's a goal that I've been trying to get. I've been trying to do. You got to go through the refinement. It ain't easy. You know, my keynote speech is refined by fire. I have been through things. I have been through things that most people would have just broken down and said, I'm done. But I sit here today talking to y'all on the radio. Because the fire didn't burn me. It revealed me. It revealed my character. It revealed my resilience. Yeah, it hurts. The pain hurts. All of it. It's not easy. But one thing about me is I don't break. I don't break. I might bend, but I don't break. I might fall. I might get pushed off my square. But baby, when I bounce back, you better get out the way, because I'm bouncing back way further and way stronger than I ever was before. He gives you that. He gives you that resilience. He gives you that strength in the refining process. I just went through one. And I thought, Lord, why in the world is this happening right now? I don't understand it at all. But right now, it ain't for me to understand. Eventually, the understanding will come. But you gotta have faith. Faith becomes most important when life becomes uncertain. Faith can look like trusting the process even when it's painful, continuing forward when the results are slow, holding on to purpose even when the circumstances shift. Faith doesn't eliminate difficulties. Faith helps us move through difficulties with purpose. Faith provides stability during seasons of change. You gotta have it. And what's the saying? What's the scripture? Faith without works is dead. You got to have the faith. This right here, doing this by myself is new. It's scary. I don't see you know what I'm saying? I can't see the road ahead, but I do know who made the road. I do know who's leading me on that road. So I'm trusting the process. I'm trusting the process. And he's going to take me down that road. And yeah, there might be some twists and turns and things like that. But I trust that I'm being led correctly. I'm being led the right way. Lessons learned through the fire. Difficult experiences often produce valuable lessons. Fire can teach resilience, discernment, strength, clarity about what truly matters. Fire doesn't destroy everyone. Sometimes it reveals who we really are. Fire can define leaders instead of defeating them. And I had recently wrote a book. This book is called Anointed Through the Ashes. This is just a continuation of my Refined by Fire story, keynote. You know, the keynote was only 20 minutes. You can't fit your whole entire life in 20 minutes. I wrote a book called Anointed Through the Ashes. This is on Amazon. So you would type in Anointed Through the Ashes paperback, and it is on Amazon. But this is my life story about being anointed through the ashes, going through the fire, going through the tests, going through every trial, every error, making mistakes. But in all of that, I had to trust the plan. I had to trust that God would get me through it. I had to trust that I would have strength to get through it. And that's the same thing you have to do. You gotta trust the process. It ain't easy. It ain't easy. Every ache, every pain, every scar, every tear, all of it will come together for your good. I promise you. Where's your copy? They are coming. They're supposed to be arriving on Sunday. They're supposed to be arriving on Sunday, and I will get you your copy. I promise. I promise. I will get you your copy. Rising after the fire. Growth after difficulty often brings greater confidence, stronger leadership, clearer purpose, deeper empathy for others. Like I said, it's just, whew. Nobody can tell you. I can tell you my experiences, but there's some things you're going to have to go through yourself. And it ain't going to be easy. It's not going to be easy at all. But you got to go through it. Rising after hardship is not about pretending the fire didn't happen. It's about understanding that you survived it. Survival can become the foundation for leadership. So, let's think about it. What challenges have strengthened you instead of breaking you? Can y'all tell me something about that? Are there any challenges in your life that have strengthened you instead of breaking you? It's, So yeah, let's reflect on that. Is there anything? All of us got challenges. All of us have some type of challenge that has strengthened us instead of breaking us. My challenge every day is to fight back against the major depressive disorder. That is a challenge every day. Every day. But luckily, I have tools, thanks to my therapist, who is the best therapist ever in life. I just love her to death. But you got to learn the tools to get you over those challenges that's coming up in your life. You know, without those tools, like for me, I can get in my head a lot. So the way I combat that is I journal. If it's on paper, it's out of my head. You know, when it's nicer outside, I actually take my shoes off and go grounding. And that means just walking in the grass, becoming one with the earth, things like that. There's always some type of tool that you can use to get yourself out of these challenges. Oh, goodness gracious. Leadership is not about avoiding the fire. Leadership is about learning how to rise from it more strongly than before. So this is my test run to see how everything goes, to see if I got the equipment and everything up. Yep, life trials and tribute. Definitely. So yeah, like I said, the phone number is 608-363-2402 if you want to call in and chime in on the topic. The topic tonight is not shrinking. I'm probably going to go to about 6:30 tonight. So, yeah, talk to me, y'all. What's going on? Ooh, I'm getting water. Ooh. So, when you think about it, hey! Hi, Aunt Angie. So you said, God encouraged me to be strong and stand. All I can do to say before I don't think I can get through the storm, but he helped me through it. So I'm thankful for his love and blessings. Amen. He's getting me through it. That's right. That's right. You know that. I'll see you. So, yes. Coming through the fire doesn't mean that you won't get smoke on you. Don't mean that you won't get a little scar here or there. That's part of life. That's part of life. It's the part but you still got to keep going. You still got to keep going. We have to walk through this thing called life and we only get one chance at it, y'all. One chance at it. So why would you ever allow anyone or anything cause you to shrink and not go after what you want? We only got one chance at this. One. And you don't have to wait for a soul to give you permission to do what you already called to do. We all got visions. We all got talent. We all have different skills. Tap into those. That's what entrepreneurship is about. Tap into your skills. Tap into your talents. You everything you need is already inside you to give you the life that you want to have. It's already in here. You just got to pull it out, get in there, and work at it. Work hard at it. Don't stop. You got to keep going. Yep. You got to keep going. You have to get through it. And none of this is easy. None of this is easy. In the last couple of weeks, we done lost family members, very close family members. You see your family in pain. You see your children in pain. Those are refining moments. It don't feel like it in that moment, but they are. Those are refining moments. Are you going to step up or are you going to shrink back? When we're grieving, it's so easy to just stay in that state of grieving. But none of our loved ones that pass on would want us to stay in that. When I think about Miss Vicky and I'm doing these things and, speaking on stages and finding new talents to do, I can hear her loudly, clearly, yelling, "Yeah, girl, go do it." Because if she was here, she would do it. That's what she would be doing. She never sat and waited for somebody to give her permission to do nothing, ever. When she wanted to do something, she did it. She said, "Oh, I want to be a comedian." She found the person to help her, and she became a comedian. She didn't turn around and said, "Oh, I want to write a book. I want to do poetry." She turned around and she did that too. She also said, "I want to help Black-owned businesses in Rock County get the recognition that they deserve." She did that every day. She posted. She reposted. She went live. She built an entire expo just to give them the exposure that she wanted them to have. And she did that with no one's permission but her own. So, if you wonder why I'm so bold or moving boldly, I'm following in her footsteps. That's it. I'm following in her footsteps, but I'm also forging my own. Cause yeah, you can follow in somebody's exact footsteps, but at some point you got to step out on your own too. And you can't be afraid to do that. You can't be afraid to step out on your own. You have to do it. Who else gonna do it? This your life. Your life. Nobody can live your life besides you. So if you want something different in life, if you don't want to be here, if you don't want to be in this particular space, you got everything in you to make that happen. You ain't got to wait for nobody. You don't need permission from nobody. You just move. Figure it out. Do it legally, but figure it out. You're going to figure it out. Yep, may God continue to keep watch over you and shower you with in favor. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yep, you got to take claim of it. Art says you got to take it. You got to take claim of it. You can't chicken out. And you don't back down. No surrender, no retreat. That is so true. I told myself in 2026, it was all gas, no brakes. And I meant every single minute of that. We only in March. And look at it. The girl got the book. She got her other book. I am not playing. It's time. I have held myself back enough. I've held myself back enough. And I refuse to do it any longer. It's time, y'all. It's time to take your power back. Take your power back. If you feel like your energy is all over the place, say, I take my power back. Revert my power back to me and protect me from everything that wants to come against it. That's all you have to say. And that's all you have to do. This is Boss Chick Testimonies. We will be having guests on. I'm encouraging all the locally owned businesses in the area, if you want to come on and talk to me about your entrepreneurship testimony, I would love to hear it. I would love to interview you and have you on the show. It's going to be exciting. We're going to do some real talk sessions too. Sometimes it'll be all the girls. Sometimes it'll be mixed, men and women. And we're going to talk about relationships as well. And we'll talk about faith. And we'll talk about leadership. And we'll talk about entrepreneurship. I'm excited to be on this show. I am grateful to WBCR Radio. And you are listening to WBCR Radio 90.3 Beloit. And this is Boss Chick Testimonies. Because we're at the top of the hour. So, woo, geez, Louise. So, when we think about the whole shrinking thing, where would you be in life if you weren't shrinking? And what would that look like to stand fully in that? I wonder about that myself. I'm still learning that one. I am still learning not to shrink, not to be okay with being too much. Be okay with being who I am. You know, there's a lot. There's a lot that goes on in this world. Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. That's right, Mom. That's right. Sometimes you have to lean on your higher power. Sometimes you have to lean on, for me, like I said, for me, it's the Lord. The moments I feel like I'm going to break, the moments that feel like, man, I don't understand why this is happening, I go to Him. And I leave it, I say what I need to say, and I leave it there. Because He can take care of it way better than I ever could. He's going to be able to do that. It is what it is at the end of the day. We are not shrinking anymore. We're not going to shrink. We're not going to dilute our voices. We're not going to allow someone else to dictate what we got going on in our lives. This is our life. And you don't allow somebody else to dictate it. How's somebody else going to tell you how to live your life? How's somebody else going to try to comfort what you have? They can try. Shoot, they can even copy you. But at the end of the day, what God has for you is for you. And that's all there is to it. What God has for you is for you. People can try to copy it. People can try to duplicate it. But they'll never be able to put the essence on it that you put on it. At all. That's not how. That's what makes us all unique. You know, I have store, Best of Divine Creations. There's people out there that make baskets and gifts and things like that every single day. But they ain't touching how I do it. And it's because that's unique to me. And I'm not trying to knock somebody else who does gifts and things like that. There are billions of people in this world. What might be cool to one person might be completely different to somebody else. Somebody might like my vending machine better. Somebody might like what one of my friends do better. And that's okay. That's their right. That's their life. You can't stop. You can't allow nobody or anything to stop you from your goals. That's what entrepreneurship is. Entrepreneurship is the craziest ride you will ever go on. Some days we is up, like we up. I done made $1,000 in one day. The next day, you might make nothing. But if you don't keep going, you're never going to hit the $100,000. You're never going to hit the $1 million. If you don't keep going, you got to keep going. And you can't shrink to do that. If you got a growth mindset and you think, okay, write down them goals. Write down the goals. What it say is write the vision and make it plain. Write the vision and make it plain. That's why we do vision boards and stuff like that. I remember I took Miss Tracy's class. Tracy Dumas has the Minding Your Business class. I took that in the summer of 2024. I believe it's 2024. And we made vision boards in the class. Had all our goals on there. The other day, I happened to pull my vision board out and I looked at it. I have done everything on that vision board except for one thing. Everything. You write the vision, you make it plain. If you want $100,000 in your business, write it down. Then figure out how to get to that number. And you get to that number by networking, getting yourself into new rooms, finding your people, attending professional development conferences. You never know. Going into a conference and saying what you do and who you help, you have no idea if there is a person in that room that can change your life. I'm gonna cry. Good Lord. Stop it. I'm such a baby sometimes. But had I not gone to that Warrior Unchained conference in 2024, and what if I just stayed in the room and just relaxed the whole time? I wouldn't have met Miss Wendy, who is the founder of Win Stories. I wouldn't have met Vanessa Cook. That's my girl. I wouldn't have met Sharon Slack. All of these wonderful people that I now have in my life is because I took the leap. I didn't let fear stop me from going into rooms with people who knew more about business than me, who have been in business longer. And when I walked into those rooms, I didn't walk in like, hi, my name's Paquita, and I do this. No, I walked into that room like I belonged there. And that's how you have to do in your life. Walk into the rooms like you belong there. because you do. You belong wherever God decides to put you. And it don't matter where you walking into, because you could be walking into a room with a table, and the thing is, that table is going to shift with your presence in it. So you don't have to be the top dog all the time. You don't have to sit at the head of the table, because it doesn't matter where you sit, because the room will shift to your presence if you bring your presence with you. Don't be timid. Don't be shy. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Worry about you. If you go into these networking events and you tap in, and don't go in and just collect business cards. Don't do that. Because all you're going to end up with is a pile of business cards. Go in there thinking, I'm going in here to network, and I'm going to build relationships with the people that I meet. My thing, when I go into a networking thing and I get cards, the next day I'm emailing you like, it was so nice to meet you. My name is Paquita. If you remember, my name is Paquita. I would love to catch up with you, and let's sit down and have coffee. Not too many people get these cards. You get these business cards, and then they just sitting there piling. No, don't let them sit there and pile up. Start building relationships. When you build relationships, you build your business. You build your business by building relationships with the people that you go and network with. And sometimes when I go into these things, I don't automatically go, hi, my name is Paquita. I'm the Divine Solutionist, and I wrote 2 books and things like that. No. I go in and I'm saying, hi, my name is Paquita. What do you do? What is your business? Because people can tell when you're not being genuine with them. Learn to build the relationships. That's right. It does not matter. You love that. It does not matter where you sit, because the room will shift. That is so true. These people that are running these, Fortune 500 businesses and things like that, they building relationships. They're not just collecting cards and no. That's why you see them on golf courses. That's why you see them take people out to dinner all the time. Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to do what you need to do to build a relationship. Find out what their likes are. And how about find out what their needs are? You never know. Somebody might need the very thing that you provide. The very thing you provide. So, like in our shop, one of our best-selling items is the hand sanitizer lotion that my mom and my Uncle Anthony created. And they created it during the pandemic. Because remember, you had to have sanitizer. You had to have sanitizer every time you went in the store, and it stank and it was gross and it was just ill. So they created this product. It's a hand sanitizer, and once the alcohol evaporates, you're left with a lotion, so you're not being dried out. We had no idea that would take off the way that it did. Now it sits in the animal Hospital in Janesville. It sits in Mercy Hospital. It sits in classrooms where children are being taught every day. We had a teacher come in. She was buying the little 5-ounce bottles, and we're like, man, you come in a lot to buy these bottles. She was like, well, I'm doing it for our classroom. Oh, cool. Let us help you. And now she has the big 32-ounce bottle of the hand sanitizer lotion. And every time it goes down, she comes back and she fills it back up. She get it filled back up. You never know what somebody is looking for. You could be walking into a room that somebody needs that exact thing that you carry. That exact thing you carry. But you got to build a relationship first. You got to build a relationship. You got to figure out what their needs are. Then you can talk to them about your business. Sometimes it ain't about us. It ain't about us. Sometimes it's about the customer, what they need. You know, we sell custom gift baskets to consumers, and we sell them business to business. You know, we put the fillers out, like, you know, around like Administrative Assistant Day or holidays. When they having holiday parties, because we decorate for parties and things like that too. But we can't market to them if we don't know what you're looking for. And the only way to do that is to build the relationship. You know, and that's a lot of reasons why we move with our business the way we move. Though we have a brick and mortar storefront, we still take our items to different local expos, shows, vendor shows and stuff like that. And then we don't stick to just Rock County area. We don't stick to just Beloit or Janesville or Madison. No, you have to branch out. How is somebody in Milwaukee supposed to know what you got if you don't go there? How is somebody in Door County gonna know if you don't go there? And you're like, oh, I don't want to go that far. Then you don't want to make sales. You don't want to make money. You go where it is. There's plenty of times where I would be the only piece of chocolate in a vendor show. But it did not matter because I wanted to get my products in front of people. So you got to get out of your comfort zone. Don't just stick to what's familiar. Don't just stick to what is comfortable. Push yourself out of your comfort zone. Oh, Christina said, not shrinking also means not shrinking to your own self too. Yeah, that's right. You don't let negative self-talk block you from what God has already anointed you to receive. That is very true. Sometimes it's not other people hindering us. It's us. We get trapped in our own heads. We get trapped in our own hearts. Because it's too much pain. It's too much this. It's too much that. We can't keep living like that. If you are waking up and all you think about is darkness, negativity, you need to change your mindset. You need to change your mindset. You have to change your mindset. You can't just let any and everything get to you. Who? That's me talking to my dang on self. That's me talking to myself. There's plenty of times where I'm online and I see something, I'm like, you know what? But then I have to sit back. That ain't about me. That's not about me. Even if it is about me, so what? At the end of the day, I have a brand. And I'm not about to let nothing and nobody ruin my brand. Oh, I know it's hard not to snap back or bite back when you know it's directed at you. When it's clearly directed at you. But the minute that you react, the minute that you snap back, that's what them people are waiting for. They want that reaction. So they can be like, see, she not who she said she was. She not Christian like she said she was. No, I'm human. I'm human. That's for sure. I'm human. The only perfect person that ever walked this earth was Jesus. And I ain't him. Do I aim to be like that? Yes, but we not there. We is work in progress. We are a work in progress. I tell you that much. And it's hard sometimes, especially when you seeing things. But sometimes not shrinking means don't react. Everything does not require a reaction. It don't require a reaction. Take the high road. I know it's hard to take the high road when it's like, but sometimes you just got to take the high road. You know your threshold of pain. I know my threshold of pain. I know my threshold of backbiting and all of that good stuff. I know my threshold. So all the little talk and all the small stuff that's going on, you are never going to give me the amount of pain that I've already received. And I ain't got to go into none of that. But until you get here, you're not doing anything. You are not bothering me one bit. Because of everything that I've already been through, you're not topping it. You can't. You can't top it. You can't. Everybody got their threshold of pain. So the little petty things that you see, the petty conversation, the petty posts, things like that, brush it off. Because they're never going to hit your pinnacle of pain. It's just a distraction. Don't get distracted. People try to distract you every day. People, places, things. You can't allow any of that to force you to shrink. We're not doing that around here. We are not shrinking for anybody or anything. Nothing. We are called for more. We're called for more. We're called to live life abundantly. Not to be stuck. Not to shrink. Not to dilute our voice. We're called to have discernment, clarity, strength. That's what we're called to do. You don't need permission. You don't need validation. You need alignment and courage. That's what you need. If you have those things, you will succeed in business, in life. One of my newest mentors, Jamar Jones, his whole thing is change your circle, change your life. You gotta look at what's around you. If you are the most performing person in your group or in your circle, then you need a new circle. How are you supposed to want to achieve more if you don't have the person who is making $100,000 in your circle? If you don't have the person who is the millionaire in your circle? Think about that. Do an inventory check on yourself. Who's around you right now? Are they pushing you? Are they encouraging you? Are they calling you on your stuff? Because you always need that friend. You need that friend that will call you out. Like, this decision right here, ma'am, you messing up. You don't need a whole bunch of yes people around you. You need people that are going to push you to your greater purpose. A good spiritual, Christina said, a good spiritual trick to stop overthinking, spiritually and psychologically speaking, is music. You want the thoughts to stop so you can rest and get out of that. Smooth jazz playlist, a self-love routine, and use it. Yeah, that's right. You need a pep talk. You need a hot girl playlist. Yes, if you need to be pumped up, get you some drills and thrills playlist. Music is a very powerful tool to use to regulate. Yeah. There are so many tools you can use to get yourself out of different mindsets and things like that. And yes, you should have a playlist for when you are down in the dumps. That music that's going to make you move. The music that's going to get you out of your seat, out of the bed. And that can be anything. It don't always have to be gospel or Christian music. It's whatever's going to motivate you to move. But with that being said, music can have spirits on them. So you gotta listen to the right, whatever you think is gonna get you up out of that space. But yeah, there's music is a very powerful tool to use. Journaling is a very powerful tool to use. Journal them thoughts. Get all that junk out. And if you don't want to keep, even if you free flowing with the thoughts just so that it get out, then you can take it and burn it. If you don't ever want nobody to get a hold of it and read it, get it all out, write it all out, then burn it. That's a tool. Burn and release. You got to figure out the ways to release the pressure. You got to figure out ways to get through the moments. It's hard. It's not easy. But definitely do an inventory check. Change your circle, change your life. And that's another thing that I did. That's another, I'm big on professional development. And I attended the Small Business Owners Conference in Milwaukee. And that was another another 3-day event. And that's where I got to meet Jamar Jones and be in the same room as him and listen to his workshop on changing your circle, changing your life. Game changer, period. You gotta be in the rooms so that you can get the opportunities. What if I didn't go to the Foundation for Black Women's Wellness, Black Women's Wellness Day this year? I wouldn't have got introduced to Black Girl Vitamins had I missed that event. You know why? Michelle Bozeman Brown, that's my girl. She came to me and she was like, Paquita, you need to go over here and I'm going to connect you with the people at Black Girl Vitamins. What if I hadn't been there? What if I hadn't been there? Get yourself in the rooms. You have to get yourself in the rooms. And some of the vendor shows and things can be, the vending fees can be a lot. But you got to look at your resources too. Because we contacted Jasmine of Progress Center for Black Women. And they were able to negotiate a different fee and things like that. You got to get into these rooms. You got to branch out outside of Rock County. You got to branch out and see what other resources there are. There's, different resources like WIBIC. We got connected with WIBIC and we do the WIBIC annual luncheon every year. And that's down in Milwaukee County, but I believe our office for the South Central Wisconsin is in Racine. I've taken my business down there as well because I'm working with WIBIC. WIBIC helps us as well as business owners. They have things like Kiva loans, which are crowdfunded loans. Me and several other business owners in this area have Kiva loans. They are a 0 interest loan. They give you 3 years to pay it back. 0 interest. And they set it up so clean, like automatic payments. It'll come out. And me and Tanisha Loggins of Loggins Family Business, we were some of the first people to get Kiva loans funded in 24 hours. Our thing started at this point, and 24 hours later, it was fully funded. Me and Tanisha. That was the craziest thing I had ever seen. And this is when we were in the mall. So you have to look at your resources in your area, outside of your area, what the state offers. There's Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. They have things for us. The Chinese Chamber of Commerce, they help us, even though we're not Chinese. You know, there's so many things. There are so many resources that we're not tapping into. So you gotta tap into your resources. Go to Black Women in Business Beloit on Facebook. Anything that I see, I put in there. As far as resources, other people put resources in there. Other businesses advertise their businesses. Support your local businesses. There are well over 500 businesses in the Black Women in Business private group. And all you got to do is contact me, and if you're not in that group, and I'll send the invitation for you to be a part of that group. But there's so many businesses in this area that can use your support. There's people that have event spaces right here in Beloit. Intimate Affairs. There's the Castle. Did you know you can rent out the Rotary Gardens building? There are so many places right here that could use that money. Look them up. See what they got to offer. But yeah, this is Boss Chick Testimonies. This is Boss Chick Testimonies, where real people share real stories and walk boldly in who they are created to be. So keep shining, keep believing, and never shrink your light. Until next time, I'm hopping off. I thank you for running through this test run with me. It's been fun. It's been cool. I will be back with you guys next week. Next week will be March the 12th from 5 to 7, and it's also my birthday. Hello. I'm excited. So my birthday episode will be next week, 5 to 7. Don't miss it. And we will have a special guest, entrepreneur that will be coming through. My cousin, Taz Raw Stewart will be in the building on March 12th talking to us about his credit repair business and things like that, and his music and all of that. So we're going to sit down, we're going to chop it up with him and see how he can help y'all with the credit. All right? I am signing off. This is Boss Chick Testimonies. I will catch you next time. Bye.